Right now, on to the point. The Democratic National Convention.
I just am looking forward to an exciting week.
Hundreds of Californians now headed to Chicago. Why they're excited to represent the state next week.
Still, fires burning across our region. Now a red flag warning in effect for fire danger. How long? That's expected to last into the weekend.
New bills just signed into law hoping to crack down on retail theft. Will they make an impact? And addressing reparations in California.
I hope it sends a signal not only to California, but to the rest of the nation.
What lawmakers plan to do next. This is To the Point, and I'm Alex Bell, and we start tonight with Your Voice, Your Vote. Hundreds of California Democratic delegates are now making their way to Chicago for the Democratic National Convention, and these are brand new photos from inside the United Center in Chicago. The convention stage is set. The DNC says delegates will do a celebratory roll call, casting their votes for presidential nominee Kamala Harris. And the nation can expect to hear speeches Monday through Thursday night. There's going to be a lot of California representation at the convention this year. The Democratic presidential nominee is from California, and California politicians are expected to give speeches. And tonight, ABC 10's Becca Habegger shows us California brings the most delegates of any state to the convention.
Yeah, Alex, nearly 500 Californians are heading as delegates to the Democratic National Convention to help make Kamala Harris and Tim Walz the official presidential and vice presidential nominees of the Democratic Party. Now, I spoke with some of those delegates and a Republican strategist about what they expect to hear next week.
America has heard from Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz at rallies in recent days, but at the four-day Democratic National Convention in Chicago, the presidential and vice presidential candidates will articulate their message in prime time.
They're virtually unknown to voters, and this is an opportunity to see them shine and speak.
Sacramento-based Democratic strategist Steve Maviglio is an alternate delegate for the California Democratic Party. This will be his third DNC. I asked what he'd like to hear from the candidates.
Attacking the price of prescription drugs, inflation, economic issues, undoubtedly on top of mind for everyone, and particularly independent voters.
Voters will cast ballots in the fall, but each party's delegates to their respective national convention are the ones who formally nominate the presidential and vice presidential candidates, as well as vote on the party's national platform. In California, most Democratic delegates were elected by fellow Democrats in caucuses back in April.
It's going to be exciting.
Tomas Vera, a first-time delegate, lives in Placer County and has been active with the Democratic Party in California for the better part of 2 decades. He says delegates will be busy during the days ahead of evening speeches.
I'm a member, for example, going to be participating in the Veterans Caucus, or the council they call them there. There's a Hispanic council, there's a rural council. It's a great way for the party together and delegates from throughout the nation to get together and exchange ideas.
Former Sacramento City Council member Steve Cohn is a first-time delegate and says he looks forward to hearing President Joe Biden speak on Monday night.
He's been a really good president, and he did a very selfless thing in stepping down.
Walz will address the DNC Wednesday to formally accept the party's vice presidential nomination. Then on Thursday night, Harris will take the stage to accept the party's presidential nomination.
Up until just a few weeks ago, she was telling us Biden was fine, that he was on point, that he was as sharp as he's ever been. And then all of a sudden, she's accepting this process where the official nominated Democrat candidate is being shoved out the back door.
Sacramento-based Republican political consultant Tab Berg says there's a lot of excitement around Harris's campaign because she just recently entered the race, but he feels she lacks substance and clear policy positions.
I mean, they're going to try to make her out to be a rock star, but really look at what her record is. I'm not sure how much executive experience you get as vice president.
Democratic strategist Michael Trujillo disagrees.
She was a United States Senator for 4 years. She's been a vice president for 3.5 years. That's nearly 8 years of talking, national policy, being inside the White House, working with the president and all of the department heads and the different cabinet members.
I just am looking forward to an exciting week next week.
West Sacramento Mayor Martha Guerrero is a first-time delegate and says after the DNC, getting out the vote will be key for the November election.
We have voters who just don't think their vote counts. So going out, for me, especially to the Latino voters, they're the ones that have a tendency not to vote. So encouraging them.
Because no matter who you support, voicing your opinion at the ballot box matters.
And delegates and strategists also point to the importance of the upcoming debates. Harris and Trump are set to square off September 10th right here on ABC 10. Vance and Walz have agreed to a debate on October 1st. And then Harris and Trump are set for one final debate later in October on a date yet to be announced. Alex.
And as Becca mentioned, big name Democrats will be making speeches Monday through Thursday. President Biden and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will speak on Monday. Former President Barack Obama is expected to speak on Tuesday. Former President Bill Clinton and Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz will be speaking on Wednesday. And then Kamala Harris will be speaking on Thursday to close out the convention. And you can watch the DNC live on ABC 10 all next week, similar to the RNC. ABC News will be live Monday and Tuesday starting at 7 p.m. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll have live coverage starting at 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it. And tonight on the campaign trail, Kamala Harris unveiled her economic agenda while campaigning in North Carolina. Her plans include $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers who paid their rent on time for 2 years. Expand the child tax credit, providing up to $6,000 per child in the first year of life, and create the first ever federal ban on price gouging for food and groceries.
My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules.
On Thursday, former President Donald Trump accused Harris of breaking the economy.
She destroys everything she touches, and if she wins, your finances and your country will never recover.
Trump is facing criticism after saying the Presidential Medal of Freedom he gave is much better than the Congressional Medal of Honor given to soldiers. And it is no secret, Americans are politically divided. I sat down with Republican Congressman Tom McClintock today. We spoke about California's homeowners insurance crisis for another story that we're working on. But while he was here, we asked him how he sees the country moving forward together.
Lincoln told his generation they were destined to be remembered for all time, for they would either nobly save or meanly lose this, the last best hope of mankind on this earth. They made the right decisions and saw a rebirth of freedom, and I think that's going to be the story of this generation.
McClintock represents California's 5th District in Congress, and he is a member of the House Judiciary Committee. In other news tonight, 10 bills known as the California Retail Theft Reduction Act have been signed into law. The governor signed the bills while in San Jose today, and the bills address serial theft, cargo theft, and allow law enforcement and district attorneys more freedom to prosecute for these crimes.
They're also trying to basically aggregate where somebody has engaged in retail theft in multiple jurisdictions, that they can aggregate those offenses and prosecute them in one county.
As for if these bills will make an impact, the governor says it will be the hard work over the next course of the few weeks and months to deliver on what lawmakers are promising. And 2 weeks remain for the state lawmakers to get their bills passed. One bill no longer moving forward would have addressed sexually violent predators, or SVPs. The bipartisan bill is known as the SAFE Act. And the bill's author, Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones, says the bill would have required the Department of State hospitals to ensure Liberty Healthcare takes public safety into consideration when placing SVPs back into communities. In a statement, Jones says, in part, without the SAFE Act, predators will continue to be dumped wherever it is convenient. I'm looking forward to the results of our audit of the Newsom administration and Liberty Healthcare, which I am sure will reveal just how dangerous this predator release program really is. And at last check, that audit is expected to be released sometime this year. When it comes to reparations in California, 3 key bills passed out of committees on Thursday, and they are headed for full floor votes. And one bill would create the California Freedmen Affairs Agency. This agency would oversee and administer any reparation measures passed by the legislature. Another would require that agency to compensate families who have had their property taken from them in racially motivated applications of eminent domain. And the third bill would establish the fund for reparations Reparations and Reparative Justice in the state treasury in order to fund policies. A fourth bill would issue a formal apology to Black Californians for human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants. Here's what the bill's author had to say.
You know, it's important, and I hope it sends a signal not only to California but to the rest of the nation that this is a priority and that not only California is watching, but the nation's watching.
And these bills were created after a task force released more than 100 recommendations last summer. Next, on To the Point, a man accused of killing his girlfriend in the Tahoe area appearing in court. What else he's being accused of?
Strong winds moving in across our region for the weekend. How high gusts could get.
And later, we hit the back roads to visit California's oldest champagne maker. People in Grass Valley were being forced to evacuate from this fire earlier. This is between the Lumberjacks restaurant and a Honda repair shop on the Nevada City Highway. The business caught on fire and a woman has since been arrested for arson. And I want to get over to meteorologist Carly Gomez because we are expecting some fire danger over the weekend, right?
Right, elevated by tomorrow's. We're looking at strong wind gusts arriving for your Saturday. Now, temperatures will begin cooling Saturday as well. We'll go from the mid-90s to mid-80s, but the trade-off comes those strong winds. A red flag warning going into effect starting at 11 a.m., lasting at least until 11 p.m. for the high Sierra around Truckee and South Lake Tahoe, areas down to about Yosemite as well. But a lot of this red flag warning lifting all the way up toward Oregon, Idaho, and areas into Nevada. So this is a big concern there as wind gusts could get as high as about 40 to 45 miles per hour. We are looking at significant fire potential from Sacramento north to Redding. And then, of course, in the Sierra, very windy conditions expected. Moderate and dry conditions expected along the coastline and into the coastal range, as well as portions of the Sacramento and San Joaquin Valley spots and the foothills with significant fire potential in that moderate range. Now, when we talk about some of the temperatures dropping, it will be a nice little drop for us, dropping as much as 5 to 10 degrees for a lot of areas. Highs today were in those mid-90s from Oroville and Marysville, 93 in Sacramento, 94, 95 Stockton, Modesto, with 80s and 90s in the foothills today. Now, the cooling weekend temperatures will bring us down to the mid-80s and upper 80s Saturday and Sunday. Strong gusts, though, moving through, of course, with the Sierra red flag warning in effect. The high will weaken, but it's that low that's causing concern. The two pushed up against each other there, bringing a strong pressure gradient, so strong wind gusts expected. We will see them beginning to move in for our Saturday, but around the peak time for this is going to be around 4 p.m. inland. You're seeing the strong gusts over that Sierra crest, of course, so that's the fire potential we are looking at. Mid-80s to upper 80s for the weekend, and we're talking 90s and 80s next week.
All right, Carly, thank you. Next, on To the Point, why home buying and selling might now be more affordable. And the man accused of killing his girlfriend in the Tahoe area appears in court. What else he's being accused of? Welcome back. The man accused of killing his girlfriend in the Tahoe area appeared in court today. Brent Clifford was wheeled into a Placer County courtroom earlier, and he said he could not afford an attorney and asked for a public defender. The Placer County Sheriff's Office says his girlfriend, Patricia Portello-Wright of Kings Beach, was found just yesterday morning in a steep embankment off Mount Rose Highway in Nevada. She was last seen on August 4th, and Reno police say he's also been connected to a homicide in Reno.
Placer County was investigating their missing person case, and they knew that Brent was a potential person of interest in that case. And then coincidentally, we had a call from a citizen, off of Keystone Avenue that had located the decedent, and then we were able to make the connection that way, working with Placer County because they had some information tying him to Reno as well, and that's kind of how it kicked off.
Today, Clifford was arraigned on felony identity theft charges. The Placer County DA's office hopes he can be arraigned on a murder charge on Monday for Patricia Portello-Wright's death. And charges against Smiley Martin, one of the 3 K Street shooting suspects awaiting trial, have been dismissed. Back in June, the 29-year-old suspect was found unresponsive in his cell and died at the Sacramento County Jail. An investigation into his death remains underway, though the sheriff's office has said there's nothing to indicate suicide or criminal intent. And starting tomorrow, if you're buying a home, you will have to sign a contract with your realtor spelling out their compensation. It's the result of a $418 million settlement with the National Association of Realtors and is meant to allow buyers to negotiate how much their agent gets, and sellers can also negotiate their fees with their broker and realtor. You never know what you'll see on the back roads tonight. John Bartel takes us to Sonoma County wine country to do a little tasting at California's oldest champagne maker.
If you follow the Russian River through Sonoma County, the sound of clinking glasses gets louder as you approach the town of Corbell. This is the Corbell Bottling Factory, the oldest and largest champagne production facility in California.
We did 18,000 cases the other day.
Since 1882, Corbell's California champagne has been at some of the most iconic celebrations in American history, including every inauguration since Ronald Reagan. But that iconic bottle pop of Corbell's all started with the pop of a gun supposedly fired off in the air by Francis Corbell at a protest in Prague.
He was thrown in jail. The Habsburg guards pounced him and threw him in jail.
Corbell Winery tour guide Hillary Reddy says that jail sentence might have been the end of Francis Corbell's story, had it not been for his grandmother.
His grandmother broke him out of prison by smuggling his clothes in under her hoop skirt.
Once clothed, Francis apparently lit a cigar and walked out disguised as a commoner. Shortly after that, he and his brothers fled to California to strike it rich in the gold rush.
They missed the gold rush, so they came up here and bought this property.
The area that she's talking about is the Russian River Valley in Sonoma County. The Corbell brothers made it rich by cutting down redwood trees for cigar boxes. They invested a lot of that money into a number of businesses, one being a champagne production.
We were the first ones in America to make champagne.
The word champagne is only reserved for wine made in the Champagne region of France, but because the Corbells hired a Champagne region winemaker and they won a series of lawsuits, they were allowed to call their sparkling wine California Champagne. Even during Prohibition, the Corbells continued to make champagne. The winemakers were so bold, they even sent a bottle to President Roosevelt.
2 months later to the day, he toasted the end of Prohibition with Corbell Sec in front of the world under a sign that said Corbell Sec.
Now, Corbell wouldn't be one of the nation's largest winemakers had it not been for innovation. You see, champagne is difficult to make because the bottles must be rotated every day, but when the Heck family bought the Corbell Company in the 1950s, they started inventing ways to rotate the bottles and mass-produce Corbell's champagne.
This is what Adolf Heck invented, the automatic riddling rack in 1970, and it really did change the industry.
Hollywood discovered the Corbell Winery in the late 60s while filming the World War II themed TV show Combat, starring Vic Morrow. TV producers persuaded Corbell to allow the combat scenes to be filmed on the property by promising to blow up and remove old stumps in the vineyard.
They blew out over 1,000 stumps in 6 months.
Well, whether you're celebrating the end of a war, a new year, or a presidential inauguration, Corbell put California on the map for premier champagne production.
Now, is it proper? Should I hold my pinky out? Is that what I should do?
Only if you're feeling very presidential.
I am feeling presidential today. From California's oldest champagne cellar, Corbell in Guerneville, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
John Bartel, always feeling presidential. All right, now it's your turn. If you got something that you think would be a great road trip destination, make sure you let John know all about it. Just text your idea to 916-321-3310, and we are right back after this short break. Breaking news in North Highlands. A firefight is underway on Watt Avenue, just north of I-80. inside a recycling plant. This plant is in the Walmart shopping center, and we have a crew at the scene working to get more information. But be aware, a large firefight is underway if you are headed this direction on Watt Avenue, just north of I-80 in North Highlands. And if you are driving in downtown Sacramento and the Natomas areas this weekend, give yourself just a little bit of time. There is heavy traffic as construction continues on I-5. Traffic reporter Jordan Tolbert has the updates tonight.
Well, a heads up on some I-5 weekend repair work that is happening between downtown and the Sacramento International Airport. So we will see some lane reductions beginning late tonight, northbound 5 at the I-80 interchange. Now, southbound 5 at the I-80 interchange, we're also going to have lane reductions during that same time period. And in some periods late at night, we could see that down to 1 lane as well. So just be prepared. Leave early if you are headed to the airport. Southbound 5 to the eastbound I-80 connector, that's going to be closed overnight each night this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can head to our website, abc10.com, for more information on this work.
And that is our show tonight. Thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And remember, strangers are just people we haven't gotten the chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone. Have a great night and a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.